If you build it around a beginning that has a definitive start and end point, that leaves questions. It must be built around a conflict, then there will always be pain and suffering. If it must be built around a resolution, then it is a predetermined plot. If it must be built around a conclusion, that itself can be a type of more subtle predeterminism. If it must be built around an interruption, then there's never a moment to rest. If I have to consider based on the reality I live in and what I've learned from observing it, then I would build this world around a conflict, not between people, but between ideas. If a world values order the most, it can become restrictive and isolating. If it values endless change, it can become chaotic and inconsistent. If it values endless memory, then it stagnates. But if it values progress over everything else, then it just never stays present. Conflict, change, reveal most clearly. Conflict, change, control, no. Conflict, change, curiosity. If I had to construct anything similar to our reality from the options listed here, it would be the options I would choose is conflict, change, and curiosity. These are some heavy questions. In a world that focuses around conflict, change, and curiosity, certainty isn't going to be the most difficult to let go of. It's going to be difficult. Identity and certainty were pretty much tied for third place. The past is in second place and can kind of can get tied with either of the lower two, should things shift around. Possibility. Possibility. Because there's always conflict, because there's always change, because there's always curiosity, the most difficult thing to let go of is a possibility. Not because you would want that possibility to be controlled by you, but because the idea of letting go of a possibility feels like letting an idea die. And grief is one of the hardest things to get past. Grief is one of the heaviest things in life. What is most often left unfinished, not what is most deserving of being finished. What is most often left unfinished. Well, if the world runs, at the core of the world runs conflicts, change and curiosity, being powerful influences, possibility being hard to let go of, then what is most often left unfinished would be the self. I wanted to say conflicts, but my brain's telling me no, it would be the self. Because it's through conflicts that the self emerges. Oh, what should be preserved even if it hurts? Conflict at core changes value, reveals curiosity, curiosity as revelation, grief of possibility. The self is left unfinished. Yeah, if I were to reconstruct reality, truth would be the option. Because if you only preserve memory, then you're stagnation. If you only preserve direction, then it's always moving, never stopping. If you always preserve function, then you're trapped in a limited system that can never accept new realities. So it must be truth. Oh, please leave something behind? In what context? In what fucking context? Leave something behind as if it is abandoned? Leave something behind as a gift? Leave something behind to be discovered? Leave something behind to be forgotten? Which one are you contact? Oh my fucking yikes. Conflict at the core. Change as value. Meaning and curiosity. Grief of possibility. The self unfinished. The truth preserved. I feel my mind reaching at this point, trying to keep all these connections level. Like back when I was in grade school and was trying to do math in my head without writing it down on the paper because I wanted to prove that I could. Because I wanted to push my limits and say, huh, shows you. This is a lot more complicated. Meaning resolution is never enough to stabilize into non-existence. Change as value, meaning, so that history weaves together between different moments. Curiosity as the shadow, reflecting the grief of possibility. Because the self is never complete, and truth should be preserved even if it hurts. So if I must leave something behind, it would be bravery. Because you can obtain all four of these other options with bravery. Fair enough. You will make your own choices. Hope. I think I'll play this. Yes. Yes. Alright, so let me review my answers in my mind. Conflict at the core. Change as the meaning and value. Curiosity is the shadow for the grief of possibility. In facing the incompleteness of the self, truth is preserved. I will leave bravery behind in the hope that there is more than just grief. I've made my choices. I know who I am.